let's get into the Rams, and I would say the Rams hold the distinction of being the team that you and I were both just look like absolute idiots for how good we thought they would be at the beginning of last year. It was just kind of like I was in the headspace, and I think you were too. Of they won the Super Bowl. They're back. Tough to bet against them, and it's like actually they're terrible. Like they're not just bad. They're not just as good. They're not just not as good as they need to be to win to repeat as Super Bowl champions. They were a legitimately horrendous team. Now there were a couple things that went into that, injuries and stuff. I maintain that had they stayed completely healthy, they still wouldn't have been very good. And of course, hindsight is 2020. Looking back on that stuff, but man, what a train wreck they were last year.
Yeah, it was a painful team to watch. I don't necessarily buy in the fact that they wouldn't have been significantly better had Stafford been actually healthy for the majority of last season. They did look kind of like a train wreck even when he was in there early, but he was playing.
They lost.
He should never have been out there in the first place. Like he didn't look healthy from the start of last year. And obviously these projections are going to be based on Stafford actually being healthy. Who knows if that will be the case? So far in all the practices, he's done everything he's supposed to. He's experiencing no pain in the elbow. But yeah, I mean, it was a mess. It was an absolute mess, even with him last year. So I do think as long as he's healthy, though, I don't see much of a reason why they can't return back or at least close to that type of team, at least as an offense. Whether the defense holds up their end of the bargain, we'll find out. But I do think this team can get right back into one of the more competitive offenses in the league should Stafford be healthy. Because you really just need Stafford. You really just need Cooper Kupp and then a serviceable running back, which I do think Akers in. And this offense can really just get right back to where they were 2 years ago. And that's what I'm projecting right now. We've seen it's a 50-50 shot to me at this point, whether Stafford's actually healthy or not. But I'm going to project it as it is until I hear otherwise. If he's starting to experience some pain in the elbow and different things in camp, we'll have to reevaluate. But assuming he's healthy, and last time he was healthy, we got right around the 60-40 pass run ratio for Sean McVay. He's typically hovered right around that ratio in his career. When he had Todd Gurley, it was a little closer to 55-45. But I think with Stafford, we get a very similar offense to what we saw last time, which was 423 rushes to 630 pass attempts. I think we get something very similar to that this time. Last time we had Stafford out there. The other thing that could impact this team level distribution as well, Mike LaFleur coming in as their offensive coordinator, I think they got him as a steal. He came over from the Jets, and I know the Jets may have seemed like a train wreck these last couple of years, but that was with Zach Wilson at the helm. Whenever Zach Wilson was out, the Jets actually led the NFL the past 2 seasons with Mike LaFleur as their play caller. The Jets led the NFL in team passing yards, 292 per game, with anybody other than Zach Wilson. That includes Joe Flacco. That includes big game Mike White. They actually had more pass yards than Chiefs and Pat Mahomes per game over the last 2 seasons. They averaged nearly 47 pass attempts per game. That'd be on pace for 790 on the full season. LaFleur liked to air it out. And I know McVay already kind of likes to air it out. So should Stafford be healthy with now LaFleur there, I know it's going to be McVay's offense. He's the one that ultimately calls the shot, but they craft the game plan together, and just a little bit even more pass happy than they have been in the past could really signal a big rebound for Matt Stafford. And as you can see, where I'm projecting him right now means I think he's going to be healthy, and I do think he rebounds in a big way. 4,820 yards, 33 touchdowns, right in line with what he did in his only healthy season with him. He had 4,886 yards and 41 touchdowns. So I have him going backwards even. And like I said, with LaFleur being here, maybe he could even take a step up. So I don't think that's that crazy of a projection, assuming health, a big assumption. I understand that. But he's been an Iron Man throughout most of his career. So as long as he got everything tended to and it's all good, I don't see any reason why we can't get back to that massive, massive aerial pie. And then we talk about the distribution of that massive, massive aerial pie. There's really only one seat at this table that matters, and it matters big. That's Cooper Kupp. He's seen 32 and 31% target share in back-to-back years when he's been out there. Obviously, last year, the devastating injury mid-season, but he's still Cooper Kupp, was number one in points per game, was on pace to yet again just break fantasy like he did 2 seasons ago, where he was, he led the NFL in every category, yards, receptions, targets, everything. He was just an absolute monster, and I don't see much of a reason for him to be anything different than what we've seen. A crazy stat to me, across his last 2 seasons in his games played, he has been a top 12 wide receiver 81% of the time. Receiver is extremely difficult to be that consistent with. Even like Justin Jefferson is around a 65% wide receiver one throughout his career right now. He's actually even lower than that if you look at his whole career, but across the last 2 seasons, he's right around 60% wide receiver one. That just goes to show you how damn crazy Cooper Kupp has been. Back-to-back seasons, the first in points per game in PPR or half PPR. Now Allen Robinson's gone, and I know he did jack shit, but he still took some targets. He still was the second highest target share on this team last year. So replaced with Van Jefferson, I mean, he's done not a whole ton in his NFL career. He did have, I have him, so behind Cooper Kupp. I mean, you don't need me to tell you how damn good the guy is, but on 189 targets, which is already huge, I have him going for 140 catches, right like what we saw 2 seasons ago, 18-20 yards, 13 touchdowns. He hit 16 touchdowns just a couple years ago. So none of that, as crazy as those numbers look, the way he was playing last year, he would have put these up even with a hampered Matt Stafford all year. That's just how good they scheme him up. Those layup targets, getting him deep still, great red zone weapon, the way they'd use him in pick plays. He's just a monster. He's an absolute monster. He's well worth a top 3 overall pick. I usually go Jamar Chase as the wide receiver too, but honestly, if you told me Cooper Kupp was playing all the games next year, then I would definitely want Cooper Kupp over maybe even Justin Jefferson at that point, it was so crazy. And through his career, he's played 48 of 49 games through 3 seasons ahead of last year. So he hadn't been a huge injury concern until he got hurt last year, but he is getting up there in age. So a little bit riskier. Either way, you love Cooper Kupp, top 5 pick, lock him in. I did bump him ahead of Tyreek Hill in my latest round of projections. And as you saw in the AFC East, I absolutely love Tyreek Hill. Behind him, what's the scraps, what's left at the table for people? I have Tyler Higbee actually second on this team in target share. He's got a good rapport with Matt Stafford. He's consistently been around a 15 to 16% target guy anyways. He hasn't done a huge amount of work with it, but when Robert Woods used to miss time, Higbee would sometimes step up and have these monster days. So I think there's a decent ceiling there with Tyler Higbee, in addition to a good quality floor. Not a ton of tight ends are in line for 100+ targets, and I do think he is the second mouth to feed here, so I like him. Going to right now the tight end 16, I think he's a good buy at his price tag, a nice safe floor that you can then pair with like a Taysom Hill. If you punt the position, that's a solid way to go. To get some good upside and floor baked in with each other. I have him going for 732 and 7 touchdowns. There was one year where he even outscored Travis Kelce for the last 5 games of the season. I don't obviously expect that to happen, but we've seen him even shoulder the entire passing game when injuries were going on all around him. So there is upside to Travis Kelce Tyler Higbee, in addition to a pretty good floor, in my opinion. Van Jefferson comes in next, 16% share, 101 targets. Last time out there with Matt Stafford as a rookie, Van Jefferson had 800 yards and 6 touchdowns. So a little bump in volume, maybe a little bit. He averaged 16 yards a catch last time out there with Stafford. I think that comes down just a little bit, but maybe a few higher percentage plays. They say he's fitting into that Roberts Woods style role quite well. Stafford saying, I have full trust in him. Coach praising how he's come in, Van Jefferson, and really thrived and picking up different pieces of the playbook. So I think he could definitely have himself a nice solid year. I love him at his round 13, 14 price, similar to KJ Osborne, like a number 2 that I actually like him more than Osborne. I had Osborne going for about 750 and 6. So I like Van Jefferson quite a bit more than I really even intended to. Just the way this passing game shook out, I think it makes sense. I don't necessarily see I think him and Stafford, as long as Stafford's healthy, this is a good rapport. Ben Skoranek doesn't matter, but I do want to highlight Puka Nacua. So rookie comes in. Everybody so far in camp, I talked about Ayuk being the standout for the 49ers. Puka Nacua was the standout surprise for the Rams so far. McVay, Cooper Kupp, Stafford, all of them are gushing how this rookie is so damn smart. He's everywhere he needs to be. They're able to move him into the backfield, move him out to the slot. To me, it seems like he would honestly be the heir apparent to Cooper Kupp. If he, let's see him play before we do that. But if something happened to Cooper Kupp, he seems to have the most versatility. Now, I'm not saying he put up Cooper Kupp numbers, but he seems like he might be being groomed for that layup type of target role. So he's another guy I really like as a last round stab. I have him going for 44 catches, 568 yards, and 4 touchdowns with the 4th highest target share on this team, with room to obviously go even higher should an injury strike among this receiving core anywhere along there. And that wraps up the passing game. So looking at the run game, and I didn't even highlight the running backs just because the Rams have been dead last since Todd Gurley left. they've been dead last consistently in terms of targets to the running back position. And so I don't expect a huge whopping target share. I think it'll be split, as you guys can see here. 5% going to Akers, 5% going to Kyren Williams, a quality receiving back in his own right. So I don't think much of the running game value, the running back value, will come through the air. Akers is a fine pass catcher, so maybe if they did decide to bump that to 50, 60, this could be a huge boost to his value. But I think he's going to have a pretty quality year, even without it, just because I see him inheriting, right around 66, 64% is what I have him projected for now of the rushing pie. That equates to 271 carries, 1,165 yards, and even just at 4.3 yards a pop. I mean, that's not bad. And 11 touchdowns. He's a good touchdown scorer. To close out last year, Cam Akers was the running back 4 in fantasy. He had himself a really, really nice stretch, averaging nearly 18 points per game across his last 5 games. Really seemed like it took a while. He tore his Achilles 2 seasons ago, and almost nobody ever comes back from that. It seems like it took him about a year and a half to get back into that game shape. And after that, he was the running back for 3 straight 100-plus yard efforts to end the season, and ultimately played on over 72% or more of the snaps in 5 of those last 6 games, seeing over 70% or more of the opportunities and work in that backfield game. So I expect that again from Cam Akers, as a 65 or 70% snap and usage player in this backfield. I think he has himself a really nice rebound as he heads into a contract year. McVay himself has said this is a centerpiece of our offense. We're really building around Cam Akers and what he did to finish last year. I buy it. I really do. And the offseason moves. The only guy they brought in since then, they drafted Zach Evans in round 6. They re-signed Sony Michel, who could potentially vulture a touchdown here or there. He does offer a nice insurance policy to Cam Akers. But as long as Akers is healthy, I think this is the Akers show. They ride him out in his last year of his contract and see what they got in him. That's how I see this backfield going.
All right. Well, I'll keep this very brief because I know we both got to run. But I'll just say, not interested in any Rams receivers except Cooper Kupp. Do like Tyler Higbee quite a bit. Not really interested in Cam Akers at the price he's going. Don't fully trust him. And I got to say, I hate saying this, I'm skeptical of Stafford. He had a little bit of a stink about him, like it's about over last year. And I hope that's not true. I'm a fan, and I'm a fan of the Cooper Kupp Stafford connection. It was just unbelievable. I had that stack 2 years ago, which was just a hell of a lot of fun, which I got for like 18 auction dollars combined or something like that. And so there was nothing more fun than pulling for that. I don't know. I'm pulling for Stafford. I'm not going to put too many eggs in that basket.
Hey, we'll see. I'm buying it. I think he's a tough motherfucker. We'll see. We'll definitely get signs out of camp. We'll get a read on the situation. If he's lingering with elbow pain and things, we'll know. And then I'll be all out on everybody other than Cooper Kupp if that's going to be the case. We will see. But I do think Van Jefferson, don't overlook him at his around 13, 14 price tag. Even if you're not in, I think he'll be a good one. Tunes, same Puka as well. I know he's been a huge Puka guy since he arrived. So Tunes, great to see you. Always here. Everybody else out there, please do consider that thumbs up button on your way out, whether you're here live, catching the replay. So greatly appreciated. We really thank you for being here. You can find these projections and all our content at rotostreetjournal.com, where we breed and feed you fantasy wolf. What is up, you fantasy wolf? Thanks so much for tuning in. If you haven't already, share your thoughts in the comments, check out some more videos, and join the newest Wolfpack by subscribing below.